company who just controls all the grain in town. They usually have that hooked up to like a big warehouse with office buildings and whatever. They've got big like garage doors here. The trucks back up to the garage door. There's a little truck. There's another truck. There's a little guy. He's like, there's a dollar bill. He's giving them money. All right, and then they have this thing called a grain elevator, which is like a giant escalator. They dump the grain on there, and it just goes like a escalator, and it dumps it down into the silos. So the silos are filled with grain. The trucks back up, drop it off all day, whatever. Well, this is like all over the Midwest. There's probably some in Georgia even, but what they had happening in like Oklahoma, Kansas, Arkansas in the 80s, a couple times in the 90s. The most recent one I read about was 2003. These tend to explode sometimes. The whole building, like a bomb went off. And when it first happened, they thought, that's really terrible. Who bombed our silo? This is not good. We've got like terrorists going and bombing our places. But then it was like another one blew up and another one blew up, and they said, wait a second, this is not a bomb. What's causing this? We have to study it and make these places safer. It's not good to go to work at a place that might blow up. So, what do you need for an explosion?
Fire.
You need high temperature. You don't need a fire to start a fire. Ask any boy or girl scout. You don't need a fire to start a fire. You need high temperature. Activation energy, right? What else do you need?
Combustion.
A spark could increase the temperature or provide the activation energy. What else do you need?
Surface area.
High surface area is typically going to get a lot of things at the same time. What else do you need?
High concentration.
Oxygen? Okay, so the warehouse is filled with oxygen, right? Is there a fuel that might catch on fire and cause an explosion? It's the grain itself. And it's actually not mostly the grains. It's like the husks and the shells and the seed. Like when you get to the bottom of that popcorn bag, you get all those like crinkly, crunchy thingies that are the hulls of the popcorn. When they drop all that grain off in those big, huge truckloads, it's almost like taking your hands full of flour and clapping your hands. What would happen? It's just dust everywhere, right? So these little tiny grain dust particles are flying all over the warehouse, and a lot of people don't even know they're there until somebody goes to start their truck, and the building explodes. Activation energy, all you need is a little spark. Or, one time, one of the culprits, guy lit a match to light their cigarette. The building was on fire. So, I have some grain dust right here.
Always our table.
Right in front of me.
It's
Yep.
stinky. And it is combustible. What's the difference between combustible and flammable?
It can blow up.
Flammable, the vapors catch on fire. Combustible, the solid catches on fire, right? So wood is combustible. Gasoline is flammable. They're both dangerous.
What's it? Well, that's anticlimactic.
Why is it exploding?
Needs a closed container.
It's a pile. What if I took it and I clapped it up in the air and it mixed and every piece of this dust caught on fire all at the same time?
And you have an explosion.
Well, let's do that. I have a grain silo, just a miniaturized version. You'll have to imagine this like thousands of times bigger, and imagine what would happen if it was 1,000 times bigger and you saw this. And then you can go look it up on the internet because it's real. I'm not making this up. Now, you'll probably find 10 videos of science teachers doing this experiment, but then you might actually find a couple videos of grain silos that are on fire, and like news trucks are there saying, "Oh my gosh, it blew up today." So I just put the grain dust in there. I need some activation energy. we go. Okay.
Candle.
Just enough to provide a spark, right? I need some oxygen. Oh, it's filled with oxygen already. And then all I need to do is stir it up. So that's what I'm going to do with this. Yeah, this is probably fine. Okay, watch out, Rachel and Nia.
Always me.
Well, you're closest. You're the one who sat there.
Holy crap! That's awesome.
That's why I said watch out. I had this hit a kid that had one. So take that and imagine it's a huge warehouse instead.
Yeah.
That's it for